there's a simple thing in law called IRAC. IRAC. What's your issue? What is the rule related to your issue? Find a legal analysis that would clearly define that issue, and then come to a conclusion that you can base in law. And hopefully everybody wrote that down. You asked me, I'm sorry, I'm looking at some of these questions. One guy says there's statute of limitation on paying back child support payment. There's a lot of, there's a statute of limitation for, I guess he's asking as to when they bring the action, but that depends on your state. Look for a fact pattern that is closest to your fact pattern. And as Leon said, you got to understand your rights. And if you realize them, then you can pursue your justice. But if you don't know that you've been violated, then there is no damage. And he's absolutely correct. And we'll articulate it. As far as some of the other the commentary as to what things are, I don't get into some of the so-called moral issues. At least I don't think that's what this discussion is about, because we can argue the moralisms and we can argue the any of the other specious debates that end up in rhetoric that can exist out there. But what I used to tell people is, if you want this particular set of remedy, I can only speak to the things that I've done.
Right.
And I used to spend a lot of time going and traveling down roads that were getting me nowhere. And I tell a lot of guys who come to me for information, and one of the reasons I kind of stepped away from it before, you came back to me, is I told you I started getting athletes, professional athletes, and other people that started seeking out my information and some guidance. And that wasn't what my passion. My passion was for the people who were like me, who may not have had the benefit of the family resources and some of the other blessings that I've had in my life, to say, these are the people that I really want to help.
Right.
And sometimes I found in trying to help them, they're a bigger fight than the people inside the courtroom, because it's trying to help them overcome. I'm not going to submit to whatever their apprehensions and or fears are. And if I want what you may think, I'll ask it. But within the time because my time is valuable, and I actually bill out at $200 an hour. Even when I do legal research, is at $85.
So that's another thing I wanted to ask you about too. I know you said start with the Constitution and the state constitution, and then that coincides with what Abraham said about you need to understand your rights in order to be able to pursue it effectively. So that's why the starting point was with the Constitution and the state constitution. So after you've read the Constitution and state constitution 7 times for mastery, what's next in terms, because one of the things that I've learned about you, you've done a good job with the legal research. How can a person become good at legal research? What are some of the online resources or the in-person resources where they can begin to figure out and understand how to do legal research?
Okay, I've paid for Westlaw. I have, which I don't know how to share my screen, but on this computer, but I have ProView. So I've actually bought the same materials and resources that attorneys were using. I had the ability, and I had tremendous support from people around me who cared about me. And then a great resource I had was Abraham, because he does it, whether it's Google Scholar, Google, Justica. I pay for something called Case Text and Parallel Search, but I pay for LexisNexis. I pay for Westlaw. I pay for, I have that too. I have a Thomson & Reuters account, and these things cost money. But after you pay for them, you have to open the books, and do a lot of reading. I ask questions 1,000 different ways. He's asked me questions. I ask him questions 1,000 ways.